What's going on, YouTube? This 3 for video is brought to you by Pendleton Canadian Whiskey. And why Canadian whiskey? Because we'll be covering Unleash the Archers. Why a 3 for? Because all good things come in threes, right? Usually. So let's get started. When I started up my channel 2 weeks ago with the video, 3 Things I Love About Nightwish, I promised you all a similar video, the 3 Things I Love About Unleash the Archers. So here we go. As I said in the previous video, I'm the kind of guy who likes to listen to the same band, same album for 6 months straight. Well, right now, that obsession is Unleash the Archers. In my car, when I clean, my kids love it. Please help. So I've definitely spent enough time with this band to know what it is about them that makes me so obsessed. We can get the obvious stuff out of the way first, like usual. This band is composed of some of the most talented musicians out there. Andrew and Grant on the guitar together, just an unstoppable force. And Scott on the drums, the guy's a beast. With incredible speed and stamina, he's able to pull off some things I can't even wrap my brain around. All you have to do is watch their video, Awakening, to see their technical prowess and just their incredible ability. Well, I'm sorry, did you think that there'd be music? My bad. I just wanted to finally have one copyright-free video. Sue me. Go check it out on your own. You've got YouTube and it's free. Look it up. And of course, we can't forget the amazing vocals by Britney Slays. One of my favorite things about watching reaction videos is when they hear Britney's voice for the first time, you watch their brain break as they literally sit there and try to figure out what the hell they're listening to. Is it electronic? Is it layered? Is it just fire coming out of her mouth? Until you finally just realize it is just pure, unadulterated, badass talent. No Unleash the Archers song is complete without the patented Britney Slays Warrior battle cry siren shout thing. And my kids listen to this music so much that I'm any day waiting for that note to come from my daughter's kindergarten music teacher saying, "Dear Mr. History Buff, please tell your daughter that she cannot scream at the beginning of every song we sing. Thank you." So now that that obvious stuff is out of the way, let's get into the 3 reasons why I personally love Unleash the Archers. The first one has to do with just the overall sound of power metal. And Unleash the Archers was the first band that I ever experienced where I knew that I was listening to power metal. As I've said in one of my previous Sabaton videos, power metal speaks to my childhood 1980s soul. And that's just because it's so over the top. Some of you youngsters don't know what I'm talking about, but for those of you who've grown up in the 80s know everything was over the top before everybody suddenly got depressed in the 90s. Our action heroes were over the top. The music was over the top. Commercials were over the top. Everything was badass to the point of being cheesy, and we were unapologetic about it. We didn't care what made our superheroes tick. They just kicked ass. That's all we had to know. When there was a theme song to some action show, it literally talked about what was happening in the show. Yeah, that really happened. And yeah, there was the dark side of the 80s that we don't like to talk about.
Here we go. Feel that beat. We're gonna play a little b-ball now. You, me, and...
We've tried to forget about that. But the 80s I remembered was just badass, over the top. And power metal is just over the top, right? I mean, Dragon Force? Really? That is so 1980s, and I love it. Unleash the Archers. Epic album covers. epic sounds over the top. And that's why I love power metal. Now I understand I have a whole world in front of me to look at. I've been obsessed with Unleash the Archers for at least 6 months now, and I probably still have another 2 to 3 months to go. So I know there's plenty more power metal out there for me to check out. So give me some recommendations, and I can't wait to see it. So that's the first thing I love about Unleash the Archers. Now the second thing I love about Unleash the Archers is that Britney Slays is the most incredible, uncontested, extraordinary, unadulterated nerd. Oh my God, she's such a nerd. It is incredible. Like, yeah, you've got fire-breathing Britney over here in her leather, tearing it up. But then you've also got the herbal tea in her comfy socks, with her big old glasses, Britney. She is the biggest nerd, but in the coolest way possible. The kind of nerd who plays rugby in college, so you know she could kick your ass. And we already know that flames shoot out of her mouth when she sings, right? So she could do that if she wants. But the real Britney Slays is a total geek, and I love every minute of it. I don't think I've ever been so enamored by a celebrity or an artist, whatever you'd like to call her, as I am with Britney Slays. And not in a creepy, stalkerific, erotic kind of way. I'm incredibly happily married. Not to mention I've also seen what her boyfriend can do to a drum set for 6 minutes straight. It's more like a we were separated from birth kind of connection. I know you're looking at me weird right now, and you're wondering, well, what do you mean by that? I'm glad you asked. Like myself, Britney Slays has a degree in history and studied classical literature. Oh, I'm sorry, so you want to know the way to the gym? It's that way. Also, just like me, she's painfully aware of how absolutely worthless that thing is. I've seen her talk about it. You can't do a thing with a history degree, at least an undergrad history degree. Well, surely there's got to be other things that make you feel connected to Britney Slays. I'm also glad you asked that question. She also really, really loves and collects old and beautiful books. Oh, I'm sorry, you're asking where the bathroom is? Yeah, it's right there. Right there. You might be watching some of my videos and think, is that a green screen? Can't do that with a green screen. Yeah, I'm clinically insane when it comes to books. But that's not it. She's also incredibly into fantasy stories and science fiction and just all this other amazing stuff that I also truly love. The first book that I ever read, I think I was in 6th grade, the first full-length novel was The Prisoner of the Horned Helmet. Incredibly inappropriate for a 6th grader, but that broke the mold. Soon after, Tolkien and Wolfe and all kinds of other amazing fantasy artists, and I never looked back. She's also a big-time gamer. Yeah, the leather-clad, fire-breathing Britney Slays is sitting there in her big glasses on Twitch looking for shinies in The Last of Us. Yeah, she's a nerd. And it's awesome. If you ever watch her in her interviews, she is so down to earth and looks so incredibly easy to talk to. As much as I would fanboy, I think it would be so incredibly comfortable. And I think one of my goals is to eventually do an interview with her. And the scary part is, I know how realistic it is. She's that approachable. She's incredible. Unfortunately, we wouldn't probably talk about music. We would be busy history and books and games and stuff like that. I don't even know if I'd record it, to be honest with you. I'm going to be put on a watch list. Okay, sorry. I got to move on. So the third thing I really love about Unleash the Archers, as I mentioned before in a previous video, I really love themes in music. Well, it doesn't get any better than this, because their last 2 albums are one big, giant, fantastical, epic story. There's fantasy, there's science fiction in it. It's incredible. If you're not familiar with it, let me give you a quick rundown. So there's this badass guy who lives in a mountain called The Immortal. Just think of him like a cross between John Wick and the genie from Aladdin. Maybe even like the Mandalorian thrown in there too. I kind of picture he looks like this guy a little bit. So every 1,000 years or so, somebody summons him and he wakes up. Well, this time it just so happens to be this crazy ass bitch who's kind of like a sorceress and a queen mixed together. She can shoot fire from her hands and she can control people's minds. I kind of picture her looking like this. So she summons the Immortal because she wants him to go track down all of her sons who are scattered around the world. One of them's a politician, one of them's a priest, one of them is a general of an army, and one of them is just kind of hiding somewhere with his family. He's a good guy, right? But he goes out, and each song in the middle of the album is pretty much him going out and getting each person. Sometimes there's a battle, sometimes there's not, but all the songs are amazing. Now the reason he has to go out and get all the sons is because Crazy Lady, she's actually called the Matriarch, is trying to prepare a blood sacrifice when all the planets align. By killing all of her sons, she actually says, open their throats and drink from their skulls. Mother's Day is coming up, let's not forget. And by doing so, she can become immortal. Well, the end of the story, he does all that, he does a good job, he has to listen to her, so he goes back to his mountain to ponder all of his horrible deeds that he's done. And that's the end of the first album. Second album starts up, he's being summoned again, but this time he wakes up on a friggin' spaceship, 1,000+ years in the future. Well, it turns out the person who summoned him was the son of one of the sons that he killed, or at least he brought to the matriarch. His whole goal, he's trying to turn grandma around and make her a decent person again, or kill her, one of the two. So she finds out that her grandson now has the Immortal, and she's pissed. She's like, you took him from me, you better give him back. So she starts chasing him in spaceships, through space. Eventually they meet up, there's an epic battle, the grandson frees him, and it's an end to a great story. So if I spoiled the story, I'm sorry, but I don't feel terribly bad because Britney has an incredible explanation of all the songs if you go to Napalm's website. So yeah, when it comes to themes, it doesn't get much better than that. My only complaint to Unleash the Archers, why is there not a movie yet of this story? I know that Britney has talked about trying to find somebody to either make it into a novel, she's going to write the novel, or maybe even make it into a graphic novel. But in my brain, this needs to be some kind of like an anime mini-series or something, or at the very least, animated videos of the albums, of just the music. But how badass would that be? Some nice quality anime going on. I'm not talking like JoJo's Bizarre World. I'm talking about like Castlevania, if you've ever seen that. Picture that, or like the Dante's Inferno anime with this story and with this badass soundtrack behind it. Tell me that wouldn't be amazing. We've got to all band together and try to get this to happen. Britney, please, you know we'll go crazy for it. Well, that's all I have for this evening. Those are the 3 reasons I really love Unleash the Archers. And if you too love this amazing band, please in the comments let me know the things you love about them. If you have any stories of seeing them live, or please also, if you have any other recommendations for other power metal bands that I could check out, please let me know. I realized recently there's pirate metal, dwarven metal, there's all kinds of cool different kinds of metal, and I haven't even begun to dabble yet. So let me know in the comments what it is that you like, and I'll try to go down that road and check them out with you together. And for the love of God, if you haven't listened to Unleash the Archers, you need to start right now. So this is the History Buff signing off. You guys have a great night.